Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. We're in the garden today for a spring garden tour. I have about half of my beds planted right now. There's a ton of exciting things happening. So grab a cup of tea or a coffee or a cocktail or a mocktail and stick around as I show you my garden. This is my garden. This is the full garden here. These two beds are from last year, and then this year we just did these two beds with these cattle arches. So I'm going to start at this bed here. So in this corner, we've got this big, beautiful trellis. I just planted my peas down here and they're just starting to come up in the soil. I planted the alderman variety, so they can get up to 8 feet. Hopefully in a couple months, they'll be trailing all the way up this trellis. Also in this bed, I have a big row of lettuce here, some carrots, a row of onions, another row of carrots, and then some spinach. The spinach is just starting to come up here. And then I did cilantro in this corner here, some violas here. Beautiful. I love the colors. And then my sister-in-law gave me some baby rose nasturtiums that she started indoors. So I planted those out here. And then these are pansies. And then I kind of did the same thing all the way around. So nasturtium, viola, pansies, and kind of did the same pattern on this side. And then in this corner, I did calendula and then daucus just starting to come up, and then another row of calendula. Then we have this big, beautiful lavender plant. It's just starting to flower, all the new growth here. And then in the same little planter box is my grapes. I'm super excited about these grapes. I haven't gotten any grapes yet, but they're just starting to bud now, and there's a lot. So I hope that this year is the year that we get grapes. And then I have these two little planters at the base here that have peas, daucus in the center, and then the nasturtiums and the pansies in the front. And I did the same thing over here. And then we have the same kind of pattern on this side with the lavender bush and then the grape. This is the red grapes on this side, and then we've got the green grapes on that side. This bed right here is full of garlic. My raspberries were trying to take over, so I had to kind of take them out, but they're a little bit invasive. Speaking of raspberries taking over, they've kind of taken over my rhubarb, but it doesn't seem to mind too much yet, so I'm going to leave it for now. Then we've got this little chive bush in the corner. And then I don't remember. This was from last year. Kind of just snuck in and stayed in the ground. I don't remember if it's cabbage. Kind of looks like cabbage. And then my big raspberry bush here. Last year I didn't get a lot of raspberries, but I cut them right down to the base. This year I left everything, kind of trimmed off the tops a little bit. So I'm hoping that we're going to get a ton of raspberries this year. And then we go back a little bit in this corner. This is kale that has bolted. I'm just leaving it for the pollinators for now. But when I clear out this bed, I'm just going to extend the raspberries and just let them kind of take over this back area here. You can never have too many raspberries, especially if you have kids. They're little berry monsters. If we go back to the beginning, this bed I just planted yesterday. So we've got the same pattern of violas and then pansies and baby nasturtiums here. And then I put these alyssums in the front. I think they're going to look really cute as they trail down in the front of the bed. And then we've got a big row of carrots here, 2 rows of onions, and then I've got 5 kale and 4 broccolini. I've never grown broccolini before, so this will be a little bit of an experiment. And then I have my rosemary bush that's kind of getting crushed by this lattice. I put this lattice down for the cats. They have some neighborhood cats that like to dig in my garden, and this is the best solution that I found so far. We've got my beautiful thyme in the corner, and then I planted some sweet peas, and they're just starting to come up now, and I think they're gonna look beautiful climbing up this arch. I also sprinkled in some arugula seeds in here, which I did the same thing with my strawberries over there, and they're turning out really well. Then we've got my strawberry bed. I did a whole video where I pulled out like 150 strawberry plants. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure to go watch it. I still have a ton of strawberry plants in here, and then I sprinkled in some arugula seeds. And any of the arugula that was in like a couple clusters, I kind of separated and spreaded them out a little bit. And I planted some spinach as well, but I don't think they did as well. There's a couple spinach that are just popping up now, but the arugula definitely thrived. I have this chive in the center, which is a great companion plant for strawberries. I love this bed. I love having a little strawberry patch. This bed right here is nothing really exciting is happening right now. I do have this big, beautiful chive bush and a lavender bush in the corner. This is my tomato trellis, so it's a little early in the year to be planting tomatoes just yet, but I am going to be doing the string trellis again. So it worked really well last year. I'm going to use better string this year. These are my nasturtiums that have self-sown for the last 2 years. So I planted them 3 years ago, and they came up last year big and beautiful, and now they're coming up again, and I'm just going to leave them. I do thin them out a little bit just to give them some space, but I kind of just let them do their own thing. Okay, we're back to the front again. So I've got my sweet peas that I planted here that I mentioned earlier. I did the same thing on this side with some sweet peas, a little row of sweet peas. So they're going to be a little flower arch for the first little bit, and then I'll plant some cucumbers once it gets a little bit warmer. I just got this beautiful thyme plant, and it's a lemon thyme, and it actually smells exactly like lemons. Elsie was wondering when we were going to get lemons. And that's pretty much it for these two beds. I haven't planted anything in this bed here, but this is going to be my squash arch. So I'm going to do butternut squash, spaghetti squash, and a couple little pumpkins along both sides so that they'll meet in the middle. I grew butternut squash last year. I only grew 3, and I got 15 butternut squash. So they were kind of trailing everywhere. This is the first year I'll be growing them vertically, and I'm really excited about that. And then in this back corner, we have my big, beautiful greenhouse. My friend was getting a new greenhouse, and she gave me her old one. It's stunning. I love it. I can't believe I have a greenhouse. I didn't think that was going to be a possibility for many, many years. So I'm super grateful. I don't have a lot going on right now inside. I have a couple of leftover kale and broccolini that I grew from seed. This is my rosemary that I propagated. They're looking really good. No roots poking out the bottom yet, but if you give them a little tug, it's a little bit harder to pull out, so that means there's things happening. These marigolds I grew from seed. These are Elsie's marigolds that she grew from seed. Then my alyssum that I'm going to put in the garden. A couple herbs here. These are my geraniums that I got from that country grocery sale. They're like 99 cents. I get them every year, and I love having them in my garden. They're a great little addition. I got some different colors. I got salmon. This light pink variety is new to me. And then this dark pink variety. And then we've got, this is my favorite, this scarlet. So pretty. And then just some white ones here. I'm just going to do a quick little tour back here. This is my little flower garden. This is actually an orchid, so that's exciting. I got it last year and it's supposed to be really hardy. I've seen it pop up a few different spots. So that's exciting. Then we've got a lavender bush here. I am not sure what this one is. It kind of came with the house. I think it's some kind of rose. This is black-eyed Susans. This is my peony plant. So pretty. Just starting to flower now. This is a hibiscus bush plant. Then we've got some Shasta daisies here. Coneflower. And then we've got candy tuft and some heather. 3 purple heather and then my another candy tuft. This is salvia, I think. And another lavender bush here. I always try to keep the tags because it's hard to remember everything. And then I've got this hydrangea and 3 more. So we've got this one here. And this is kind of fun. This is a geranium that I left in the ground from last year. And it overwintered and it's starting to grow again. So that's really cool. Geraniums are known to be annuals. We live in a pretty mild climate, so it's really interesting to see that they come back. This big, beautiful hydrangea bush. This is my favorite hydrangea bush. It has these big, beautiful white flowers later in the year. Hydrangea bush here. These blueberry bushes have kind of gone to the back corner, a little bit neglected. I haven't had any luck with them, but looks like things are happening. So hopefully we get some blueberries this year. And this is Elsie's little fairy garden here. She's got some pansies in the front. A hosta. And then these are bleeding hearts. I love this flower. It's so pretty. And then she's got more pansies in the corner here. My cousin's wife got the kids these little fairy doors for Christmas. Aren't they adorable? So we've got Elsie's here and then Sebastian's here on this old cedar log. Okay, now we're up on the deck here. We've got this chive plant. It's a little bit ahead of the other chive plants. It's starting to flower. I love chive flowers. They're beautiful as a little garnish. And I put them on top of focaccia and it's so delicious. We've got this yarrow plant here. I don't know what this is called. There's a tag, but it's completely sun damaged, so it's not really helpful. Then we've got a chamomile plant here. This is from last year and I just let it self-sow. So we're gonna have lots of chamomile, which I love. This beautiful rosemary bush. This is the rose bush that I propagated my other rosemary from. And then we've got this thyme plant. This big, beautiful oregano. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna dry some oregano. Then we've got some sage in this corner and then another lavender bush. As you can see, I love lavender. I haven't decided where I'm going to put these pots yet, but this is my mint plant. So this is spearmint, and then we've got some peppermint in here as well. I'm going to try and separate this pot because it's looking really full. This is Elsie's little strawberry plant. And then we've got my cedar planter in the corner here. I just added more stuff this week. This big, beautiful parsley plant, if you can believe it, I cut off like half of it and it's still a monster. I had somebody say it looks like celery because the stalk is so thick, and which is true. It is really thick, but it's definitely a parsley plant. And then we've got another thyme in the corner, big, beautiful, lush thyme. And then we've got a marigold in the corner, spinach, kale, arugula, a little alyssum in the front, and then some lettuce here, some kale, bok choy, and then another marigold in the corner there. I love this cedar planter. It's beautiful. It comes with a little greenhouse cover. That's what the frame is for. This is what my garden looks like from my deck. It's my favorite view in the whole entire world. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining me on our spring garden tour. I'm so excited for this growing season. These vertical structures are going to be so beautiful when they're all filled with squash and cucumbers and tomatoes on the back string trellis. I'm so excited. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.